is the best way to go. Okay, awesome. All right, same thing. Normally the stream, I like to start with just a couple of questions you guys may have, reading the charts, understanding the market. Any questions you guys want to ask, this is the time to do so. I can answer any questions on technical analysis, on specific coins, overall market conditions. And once all the questions have been gone over, then I will start the scalp session. So any questions you guys have? Besides how to deal with supervisors that are dicks? No questions? You sure? This is a great opportunity for you guys to ask. If you guys don't ask anything, I'll just move on. All right, cool. Hey, what's up, Sarah? Is there any method to take profit on a long position? Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at all-time high and above. So I assume you're talking about a new coin, right, Q? You're talking about a new coin potentially, or not necessarily a new coin, but a coin that has a complete new all-time high. For example, if I go to, let's say, Ondo. Ondo is relatively new, right? You go to 4 hours. And then you'll see that, you know, it's kind of like breaking all-time highs quite often, right? So we have one here and then we have one here. Are you asking like what happens when it goes above and beyond the previous all-time high? Is that your question? Okay, yeah. So if you're wondering what happens beyond and above that, I'm just marked that in blue. So what you'll do is you can do something called the Fibonacci extension. So if you go to the third tool down, you have retracement, right? And then you have also something called extension. Okay. So what extension is you will be able to extend beyond the current point. So I'm using an OEM tool. So extension would be anywhere when you have a solid finished structure, right? So if you go to path, you have the original point here, right? Somewhere right here. And then you have a top. And then you have a bottom, right? So what this is that this is what we call a trend, right? So supposedly the next trend is going to go break the BOS, right? Meaning that you're kind of like making a new higher high. So that's technically what we're looking for in terms of a bull trend. So then the question is, when is the bull trend going to kind of make the new top? So you will use the 3 points here with the extension tool, and you will simply mark it exactly where you draw on the structure, right? And what you'll get is a potential extension. Obviously, the OEM version is very raw, or it's missing a lot of details, right? I also have the version where I teach my students, where then we would have a little bit more details in terms of, you know, the levels and whatnot, right? But this is the OEM version. When you use the OEM version, you can simply target the 618s, because those are great, you know, opportunities, or those are great levels where you can anticipate some sort of a kind of like a hard rejection, or you can anticipate that to be the next, you know, higher high, or the potential where the place is going to be. Sarah is you're really persistent on a 1 million, huh? Well, I don't know if I can help you make 1 million in one session, Sarah, but I'll try. Just get your portfolio ready. But does that make sense to you, Q? So you can use extension for that. Yeah. Okay, very cool. Any other questions? Okay, no question for Colonel. Willie's got one. Has a bearish structure, and 1 minute chart has a bullish structure or bias. Honestly, if I'm really looking for biases, Willie, I would look at 4 hour. So if I'm looking at supposedly on the Bitcoin, oh, okay, sorry about this. Let me just clean this off. All right. So if I'm looking at something potentially for 3 to 5 minutes, right? And technically, I would look at the 4-hour for what's going on, and then I would go to the 5 minutes, right? So technically, I would look at the current structure. If you look at the overall macro structure, we're currently on a bear trend, right? So we have a low and a lower low, and then this is kind of like your new lower high, technically, right? So really what we're looking for is two opportunities, right? One is potentially we can go to create a new lower low. That's one opportunity. Or we can have a change of character and actually create a bullish trend, right? So this is what we call a change of character. And this will be what we call the break of structure. So break of structure, BOS, is where then the continuing of the current trend is continuing, basically. So you have to really break below this for this bearish component to continue on the 4-hour, right? But if you want to stop the current bearish momentum, then we need to close above this, which is at 72,237, right? So, and we've been here twice already, actually more than twice, right? So we've been in this zone quite a bit. We're having a little bit of issue breaking it. So in order for us to really go bullish, we kind of have to proclaim and reclaim this zone. So if you look at it daily, and if we just kind of open it up, you'll see that we visited this zone, but we almost always close above, below it, right? This, brown box. So we close below here, we peek through, close below, close below. And if you look at the daily time frame, we technically have some sort of an order block here as well, right? So we really need to kind of close above in order for us to go from a macro, bearish into more of a bullish. Does that make sense for you, Willie? And by the way, if you're really trading 3 to 5 minutes scalping, the overall macro trend is not gonna really affect that much, because if you go to 5 minutes, literally, it's when you shrink it and zoom out, it's just everywhere, right? So it's not gonna matter as much as you think. Yeah, well, we'll get to the scalping real quick, Sarah, after we answer some questions, and then we'll get into the scalping sessions. For the USDT, that dominance, when you're scalping, it doesn't matter as much unless you're at a perfectly, unless you're at literally, a zone or a price point where a major rejection is happening, So it's not going to matter as much as you guys think. All right, any other questions? Any coin you want me to look at? Any market condition questions? Any trade you're currently in trouble? You need some help? That's what this is for. Anything? Well, I was born in Taiwan, but I was raised in the US, so I guess my accent came from the US. Another thing you can look at, Willie, is you can basically look at your prospects or your list of different coins. If they're all green, right, then the bias is also very easily identified here. Right, so you can also kind of look at that. Yeah, so right now, obviously, everything's green. And this is all based on changes within the last 24 hours. So it's also, I also look at that as well. All right. Looks like nobody has any more questions. I'll give it a couple more seconds. If nobody's asking anything, then we'll go into the scalping session, which is, I think, what everyone is here for. Especially Sarah. All right, Sarah, while I'm waiting for last minute questions, let me just make sure you understand that as you're trading with me, a lot of my calls is going to be media, right? So you need to understand how to use the buy sell button on your exchanges. So you probably be using that a lot. Secondly, if you have MEXC, you probably want to use MEXC over any other exchange, because as we're scalping, fees really matters. Most of my scalp is going to be based on 1 to about 2 BTC quantity. So, depends on the size you're playing with. This is based on a $10,000 portfolio. If you have a $1,000 portfolio, you can just simply do 0.2 instead of 2. So everything is at 1/10 of the scale, right? So whatever that you do is just based on, whatever portfolio size that you're comfortable with, the risk you're comfortable with, and then, you can kind of go from there. I don't recommend jumping in the first trade. You probably want to see one trade goes before, jumping in. I'm just giving you kind of like a disclaimer since it's your first time. I don't want your first time to feel completely awkward or even lose your money potentially, right? So be careful with this. All right, so no questions, then we'll go ahead and get into my scalps. Okay, so I typically like to do under 3 minutes, just because each candle is not, really that long. I already kind of done a few of my analysis, so I'm just gonna pull them out. I've already made some this morning, and it looks like what we're doing right now is just we're kind of like doing a range breakout moment. We kind of made a new higher high, so we're trying to find our way to break this new BOS. The market is obviously bullish, right? So I'm not really going to go into too much shorts. We're looking for a reason to break through the all-time, or not all-time, but local BOS. We also need to look at potentially where we can long. So almost every impulse and correction waves, or you can kind of see in terms of peak and returns, you can always use Fibonacci, not the extensive one, but just the OEM one. You can always use the OEM one to help you find, okay, how far is it going to retrace to, right? And obviously, if it retraces more than one or more than the original point, then this is no longer a continuing of bullish trend, right? So then you would change kind of how you see things. So right now we're currently on this wave. So we're looking for potential retrace and to kind of find our entry point. Our entry will be 2 BTC. Yeah, while OEM one is just that the setting is based on OEM. Really what it comes with looks actually like this, which is really nasty. This is literally when you pull the tools from directly trading view without any setting changes. This is what it looks like OEM, right? So all I did is I removed the background, I extended to the right, I changed the colors, so it looks a little bit cleaner like this. In my opinion, this is what I like to see, right? So, but the values are exactly the same. That's what I meant by OEM, yeah. Okay, so we're currently breaking below 382. That means 0.5 is very likely. We're waiting for the candle to close and show us price action where it wants to go. I don't like the fact that we're kind of like, before you scalp, you first need to establish a very clear bias, right? And our clear bias is we're currently bullish biased, meaning that we're trying to long. So then you're looking for every reason why a long will be obstructed, right? So we have a negative order block or bearish order block, 2 bearish order block here, right? So that means if we want to kind of poke through this level, we're going to have quite a bit of momentum in order to break through these bearish order blocks, right? So that also tells me the retrace has to be, probably significant enough to grab enough liquidity in order to get there. So then I need to kind of look back to see where do we have significant liquidity. So we have a bullish order block here that has been penetrated once, quite a few times here, and then exactly finished, like poke through during this period. So this is now a weak block. So I don't know if I would really use that. 382 seems like a good reaction point, but I am anticipating even more downtrend from this just because we have a big order block here. So due to the reaction, I'm actually entering a short here. And this short, I could literally TP, let's say around 782, just for a quick $100. And the only reason why I'm entering short is because of this big order block above it. And I know that, it's probably going to go up. If it does go up, it's probably going to get knocked down again, right? So I'm currently just shorting. I know sometimes, my calls are like literally in an instant. Like, good luck getting that signal from my channel, right? There's no way I can give scalp, signals through the channel just because it happens literally in seconds. So if you want, you can jump into short right now. We have a pretty conservative type of TP. We can either take TP at 786, assuming that we're still going to kind of return, or we can take TP at the previous low, assuming that we're going to break the change of character and go into bear. So I'm just still thinking that, you know, we're gonna have some sort of bullish momentum. So I'm just gonna take TPS at 86. But if it does come down, you know, depends on the price action and volume, everything. I will reconsider, you know, kind of adding my TP to be a little longer, extending it. So let's take a look at this trade first. If you miss this trade, Sarah, don't worry about it. You have no idea how this goes, you know, so just kind of speculate until you feel comfortable. We need to watch 618 because 618 could potentially be a rejection point. So let's take a look at 618 real quick. Each trade, again, it's not based on margin. It's not based on how much you spend. It's based on the position size. In my case, is 2 BTC, right? And because I don't technically have stop losses, we do DCAs instead. Normally, you don't really, you know, get too, like right now I'm out just because we have a pretty good rejection at 618. So potentially this could kind of get us back into the order block. So that was a quick like 60 bucks, right? So again, you can do 2 BTC, you can do 1 BTC. Typically, the margin we're playing with is maybe between $100 to about $500. If you're talking about in terms of, you know, profits versus stop losses, right? So you can lose up to maybe 100 to about 500 bucks. But you can also make 100 to about 500 bucks. So if you're doing like 1 to 2 BTCs. Colonel, if you stop driving, maybe some other guys, I don't know how many of you guys here have done quite a bit. I think only Colonel has done quite a bit here. David's not here. Yeah, so Colonel, once you're, you know, stationary, maybe you can help Sarah a little bit with some of the kind of like the basics. Bombarosa, you probably know too, right? So if you want to share with Sarah a little bit as well. If you, some of you guys who are a little bit more experienced, if you want to share. So you see the 618 is now bouncing hard. The reason why I was out is because, you know, we had an obvious bounce here. That's why I just want to secure my profit really quick, $60 and get out. We now have a pretty significant momentum in terms of bull, especially we have an open gap, right? Open close gap. So now I'm just kind of monitoring how we're doing with this order block. Yeah, take your time, Colonel, no rush. We also have another fib level in terms of more macro over here at this line as well. Nice. As a driver, there you go, $5. Coffee's on me, Colonel. So funny. Hey, drive safe. No kidding though, right? Drive safe. But most people here who are a little bit scared, Sarah, they're probably a bit new or, you know, not so used to how I was doing the scalps. They typically, I think they start at 0.5 BTC per position. So you can probably do that as well. So you go to your exchange, just use your buy sell button usually, or you can just do market entries, and the quantity you can just put in 0.5 BTC. But the leverage has to be high because 0.5 BTC is literally about $30,000, $34,000 right now. So it's $34,000. It sounds like a, you know, gigantic amount of money, but when you're leveraged, let's say 100x or 200x, but let's just say you're doing 100x, right? That's about $340 in terms of margin. So it's not incredibly high in that case. And don't worry about using 100x, right? 100x doesn't really mean much. Most people understand leverage wrong. Leverage is actually designed for scalpers because when you're moving literally less than a cent, then in order to make, let's say, $200-300 from this tiny little movement, your position has to be big enough to compensate the small movement, right? Which then is where the leverage comes in. So leverage is not to kind of gamble your wallet away. Leverage is allow you to be able to profit reasonably within a very small margin movement. That's how you properly use leverage. Otherwise, leverage really has very little, you know, influence or effect on how much money you make. if you haven't noticed that already on your swing trades. All right, so it looks like we're still doing very well on 618. I'm looking for some sort of a clean reject. Then I will go long. And that's probably the trade I would probably hold a little bit longer. So this may or may not be that clean reject because he can go up and come down again, just like that. So I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for more of a confirmation. Looking at the MACD, we're also losing the bullish momentum, right? So I'm also looking for bearish momentum to kind of slow down as well. So I think this is a fake one. It'll probably go down some more. I just didn't like this long wick, that's why I was out. And I don't want to be too much into shorts, because my overall bias, remember, you have to have an overall bias, right? So my overall bias is still bullish. And if you kind of imagine how we're currently ranging, right? If I kind of zoom out, you'll see that we're kind of ranging in these two boxes, right? So here's a box, right? And then here's another box. So we're kind of ranging. If we were to close below the green, then we would then kind of come down to this lane, right? So we're ranging in this box again. So my idea is we're probably long as it kind of come down to this green area, and we can take TP at the BOS. But if it does come down, then we potentially can do DCAs down in this box. So you always kind of have to have anticipations or kind of get ready to, take action as price is developing. Currently, it's showing, pretty bearish right now. So I'm looking very specifically at the green zone for my longs. So if you want, we can definitely set up a 2 BTC limit trade. Just, right here at about 67,147. So that's my current long. So that's just basically having the faith that the price might come down here, right? Momentum is still there, so we're still not going to enter here because I feel like it's still going to come down. The distance is not enough to justify for a trader, because even if it comes down from here all the way down to the green zone, it's only like 0.15%. It's not really a huge amount. But if we do come down to the green and then kind of reach back out to, let's say, the BOS, that's almost a 0.5% trade. So at 2 BTCs, your TP is roughly about $600, right? So that to me is it's a much more worth it. So that's my limit right here. Again, 67,147. So if you want to set that up for your long, you can. And you don't have to do 2 BTC, right? Depends on your portfolio size and your risk tolerance. But we're still gonna need, to break this order block zone. And we also have a resistance up here that we need to kind of overtake as well. So it's not gonna be a clean break, in my opinion. If you look at this whole thing, right? This whole thing is kind of looking like a gigantic order block as well. So there's a lot we have to literally overcome for this bull to continue. We just have like bearish barriers the entire way. Therefore, I think it's going to come down to grab more liquidity. So we're about to end. Is slowing down, but I'm pretty sure as we get up here, we're gonna have some sort of reaction. I'm pretty sure. So I can also short here actually. Hold on one second, you guys. Hello? Okay, 好，谢谢。All right, dinner for my wife is here. Just one second. All right, cool. Glad you're here. All right, so we're anticipating some sort of reaction, right? So we're potentially going to have a short or a bear reaction here. So if you look at this real quick, RSI is building. So I potentially would short here, maybe at a small level. Oh, my Mandarin is probably native fluency. Yeah, I speak Mandarin my whole life. So, but anyways, you'll probably come up here and then you'll come down. But let it show you, right? So wait for a little bit. Don't, like, you want a good entry point. So I'm kind of getting ready to short. This is also a good time to pull out volume just to take a look at how the volume is doing. Okay, so that's the reaction I was talking about. We're about 30 seconds to close. So if the next candle closes white, meaning that if the next candle comes out white, going down, for you is probably red, right? But going down, then I would definitely short that. Preferably, I want this price to go to the midpoint, maybe a little bit higher. The more liquidity it gets, the lower it's probably gonna go. So we're kind of waiting for this candle to decide what color it wants to be. We don't have a big wick, right? That tells you the pressure is not extremely high on both ends. Okay, so this is the reaction we're looking for. Right now, I'm trying to see if there's gonna be a wick up. If there's a wick up, that means the pressure remains. And we might push over. So I'm still not gonna enter quite yet, but I am ready to enter anytime. So this is the residue pressure from the bullish trend or this push up. So we need to show significant evidence that, you know, this pressure is being absorbed, so then we can actually go down further. And this is kind of like the evidence I was looking for. So let's see. But it can still, you know, push up. The volume shows that the bullish is pretty much gone though. So the next time it pushes up, I might just actually short here. If I wasn't distracted by the takeout, I probably would have set up a limit short right here. So the entry will be a little bit better. But I think this is probably as good as it's gonna get. So I'm just gonna enter a market short here. So I am currently market short. My entry is 268. It's not the greatest entry. And my DCA as we get up to the zone again. So I'm gonna DCA right at the top of this order block for 2 more units of bear or shorting. So I have a setup at 331 to short 2 more units of BTC. And then potentially at BOS, I might short 4 more. Depends on how the price is going to react. Okay, so this is basically a fake one, right? So I didn't wait for it to play out. So I'm going to just push my DCA a little bit higher because it looks like the pressure was enough to eat away, you know, half the order block. So then my next assumption is, okay, it's gonna go up, right? So we have our first level of support resistance right here with the previous local highs. And then this entire order block, which I am almost certain that we're gonna have some sort of reaction like this. And that's how I, you know, basically capture this part. Okay, well, good. Good for you, Colonel. Okay, I'm moving up again. Just because the momentum seems pretty hot. I didn't want it to enter my DCA too hot. This is not a reason why I say, you know, when you have a bias, you typically want to trade with the bias. Yeah, but then again, my bias, even though bullish, I just know there's so much resistance here. We're not going to go all the way to, you know, Donkey Kong. This is most likely going to be a reject. And this is the reject I was talking about. So my TP will probably be down here by the green. I'm closing my long for now that I was talking about. So I'm going long here just because we have a very significant resistance. But remember, overall bias is long, right? So I did click. It didn't really respond just because there's so much orders that's being filled right now. But remember I said there's so much pressure here. We needed to grab more liquidity before we can break up this zone. So this candle was anticipated because we have so much pressure up here. So if you know how to read, the charts, then you know, where are the pockets of liquidity, the pressure zones, and you're not really guessing. You're kind of analyzing, and that's the difference between, someone who just longing and doing randomly versus someone who's actually knowing what exactly they're looking at. My order didn't get filled, which is fine. Hopefully you got your orders filled, but you should have entered right around the low here, which is as 145. It might continue to go downwards. So I'm going to set up another limit order down at my fib zones here for 2 more in case it wants to grab liquidity all the way down here. And I'm going to set up my limit order here as well in case we visit this low again, because it's still pretty jumpy right now. This is a good sign it's reversing, so I'm entering a manual order here. So right now I'm currently in the long. My TP will be the half point of this order block. We also have a new order block created here. So we might actually go down some more, to be honest. So this order block has become this new order block right here. It's okay if I'm in the wrong position. I'm ready to DCA. But this big wick, right? This big wick that you see basically tells you that there's a pretty significant pressure down here as well. So again, I don't think we're gonna go all the way down. We'll probably absorb most of the lower pressure around this area. I feel like I'm the weatherman. Am I like explaining what's going on with the hurricane? Like seriously, like the pressure zones, right? I feel like currently there's a lot of selling pressure pushing price down, right? But we have a bunch of liquidity here absorbing all that pressure, and it's probably gonna reject. But anyways, this fib is not relevant anymore. So right now we're kind of watching. Volume shows that most of this volume was just in this one candle, right? So it's very impulsive. 13 Zodiac. I'm not sure I get your, reference, really. Might be a culture thing that I don't understand. What we don't want to see is a wide engulfing candle engulfing this wick. That will show you that the selling pressure is a lot harder than the buying pressure here at this support, this green support zone. In that case, I have to get ready for my DCAs, which is going to be at this fib right here. But overall, I'm still, long biased. I'm still thinking of, going long. My guess is we'll probably tap into this order block some more. If this order block is exhausted, we'll probably tap into this zone. We do have a support roughly around this area. So if this order block is gone, we will probably tap below here. And if we blow through here, this fib zone will probably give us some support. In which case, our DCA, since it's the same, similar position, 2 and 2, our new entry would actually be here on the average entry. So this like teal dash line will be our new entry. So if you want to get out of this trade, you can simply just, TP right around your entry if you think that the price is just going to continue to go down. Or if you think overall bias, we're still, going on a bullish trend, you can just be a little bit more patient. This is literally closing at order block. So if this candle closes above, literally as it comes near my entry, I might add just one additional BTC, especially if we can create a bullish order block. That would be good. But this is very close to engulfing the previous wick. So right now I am short-term bearish. I think we will probably go down more. That is based on my current, like, there's no reason why we would engulf almost the entire wick and not go down more, in my opinion. So we'll see. But if we can close in the next 2 minutes or so, if we can close above the previous open, right, and create an order block, a bullish order block, then we can be quite bullish. But based on the previous candle, I don't think that's going to happen. So then we're looking at the next low, right? So we have an order block here, a small one. That's a bullish order block. So this could be the next low. If it does want to come down here, kind of matches with the local. The local low is here, and then we have our Fibonacci right here. So even if it does come down, we have a few things to stop it. Stop the momentum, DCA, and kind of get our way back up. My entry should have been here. Yeah, wait a little bit. I think right now we're still on the down low. Right now we're looking for the low, the new lower low or higher low. We're looking for the new higher low for the macro setup. As long as it's above this level, we're good. Right? So the new higher low can be anywhere in this area. And then we'll probably have a pretty decent run up. Remember, in order to break all these, especially the BOS, we need liquidity, right? The ranging here doesn't show any liquidity. So we need probably to come down in order to get that liquidity. This is also a good time to also find a fib again. So we can probably use the OEM fib based on here and here. So if you look at it, we're currently on our way to 618, right over here. So we can tap into 618 and reverse, or we can actually tap into our 786. 786 is very close to this bottom liquidity as well. So it looks like there was enough pressure to kind of stop things from going lower. If we engulf this wick, I might ask you to go long. Hey, what's up, CR? I'm currently in a long. And you're in a indecisive state. So right now, if you entry, it's going to be gambling either way. I can tell you the overall bias is bullish. So if you want to go long here for a small position, you can. But you're most likely going to have to DCA a little bit better, a little bit later. But if I was wrong and we start reversing from here, at least you're not going to, miss out. So this will be a FOMO entry if you currently go in for a small position. Okay, so this is a great sign of reversal. Again, we have to kind of eat up or engulf this wick and this wick because there's a lot of pressure here, right? And then we're going to have a rejection up here. So if I do DCA here, my TP would actually be at this order block right here. So instead of all the way up here, my TP would actually be around this area. So let's take a look at MACD. This engulf is good, so I might consider going in long, but I'm trying to wait for the candle to close to show me a little bit more evidence, right? So I'm just gonna move my TP to this order block, because this order block might get just blown through. Okay, so when you're showing double wick, that's just the pressure is not enough to push over, but we still have a minute to see. If it doesn't push over, it's probably just going to continue to come down. And then we have the 618, which is very close to where we are. Potentially, we also have the 786. So the 786 is probably where I'm going to DCA my long. So if you haven't entered, I will wait. Yeah, it looks like it wants to come down. Even though we're in the wrong direction, right? We already made like 300 bucks. So it's okay if you're in the wrong direction. Just gotta manage your trade correctly. And 300 bucks is realized P&L, by the way. That's why we play the chill music in the background, so you don't lose your cool when things are going against you. I mean, we're closing higher and higher. That's not a bad thing for bull. We just gotta eat up these candles. I mean wicks. If we don't eat up the wicks, we're just waiting for a catastrophic fall. That's kind of what I mean. And if you're wondering why I don't ask you to short right now, it's because you can really go either way. So I don't really want you to short when we're still in the block. We haven't really consumed the block. I don't typically use wicks, but if I do extend to the wick, you'll see that we never really close below this order block, right? That means we're literally kind of having this block as our bottom. And if we shrink a little bit, zoom out, you'll see that on the major structure, literally, if this was our previous low, key area low, this could be the new key area low, right? So what it'll look like is kind of like this. So we create literally a higher low. And if we did create a higher low, that's very bullish, right? To create that or break through this new higher high. And you see this pink line right here for the trend line. That's where I think the next new higher high is going to be, literally, right? If we would to kind of visit there. So I'm actually going to take the short away. But I think the price could potentially, from where it is right now, kind of work its way up to this and then come down, right? For that big kind of return. So I am overall bullish. It just depends on how much time we have, because this type of play sometimes is not going to play out in literally a few minutes. It might play out in a few hours. We're currently testing this order block again. If we finally close below the order block, that would tell you that the order block is officially gone. But if we still close above it, then it's still respected. This is exactly what we're kind of looking for. But we have 30 seconds, right? So let's see if he wants to tap into 618 or if you, okay, so it's coming down. So this is gone. If it blows through 618, then the next thing is probably going to tap is 786 for the long narrative, right? Unless we close above 618 and start reversing from here. But this sudden surge tells me that we have quite a bit of momentum, so I'm probably not going to be betting on 618. 2 seconds, we close right on 618. So this could be a long blue candle, unless it wants to claim this. So we might have a reaction here at the order block, but normally the price doesn't stop, especially in between majors, fib areas. It might not actually stop right at the block. Or it can reverse. So it's reacting quite good at the 618 level. I'm not really ready to DCA quite yet, just because we haven't had, you know, significant proof that this is the bottom. When you DCA, it's very important to capture the actual bottom. So if we engulf this, I'm looking at potentially this order block, but more so at this level 786. Okay, so it does come down to the order block. We anticipate a reaction. We don't know if we have enough. Good reaction. So Sarah, if you're wondering, even at 2 BTC, even though the price is going against us for this far, we're still only negative like $200, right? So it's not really the matter of how many BTC you got, even though 2 BTC technically is $120,000 plus dollars, right? $130,000. So even though it's, extremely high leverage, but because the margin movement we're playing is so small, this is literally just 0.26%. So, it's not going to be destroying your portfolio. And this is what we call drawdown, right? The unrealized P&L. So it looks like this order block could potentially push it over, but the proof that I'm waiting to see is really, can we proclaim these wicks? If we can't proclaim these wicks, just means that, it'll probably continue to go down. What I do like is that we close and open literally right on 618. So I want to see the next candle. If we created a bullish order block here, I will DCA. So Colonel, if you're waiting for my command, I'm waiting for this candle to close. Yeah, that's just my old data, just OB daily, but it's not really daily, it's more like 3 minutes. I haven't really corrected it. Okay, it looks like this is the new bottom, right? So I am going to, we have 8 seconds. Remember, we need a bullish order block. 2, okay. So I'm going to DCA here. I'm waiting, because sometimes you come down to tap it somewhere. But if you haven't entered, this is a good position to enter long. This is a confirmed bottom. I'm waiting for it to retrace because there's a lot of liquidity here, so it's probably going to come down before it goes up. Okay, so this is a good level for me to just DCA. I just DCA 2 more BTC here. And I'm moving down my TP conservatively to this order block. So if it shoots up, it's going to just be a $300. This is a confirmation of a bottom for me. So if you haven't entered, I would probably enter long now, whatever size you're comfortable with. It's not going to go straight through, but, you'll eventually eat through. What's up, Yan? Good to see you. Just finished your dinner, huh? Yeah, I thought so. What the heck does it mean by brought away your girlfriend? That's... Oh, okay. Gotcha. What's up, Faramus? Faramus? Oh, okay. She has a flag. Cool. Yeah, right now just waiting game, you guys. It's not going to be a straight through. Liquidity pocket, and then we have this order block. So we're just going to have to wait for it to climb back up. I do have a tradition, I'll never leave you hanging. So whenever we have a negative unrealized P&L or drawdown, I'm usually just going to stay until we clear this out. Yeah, there's quite a few people here. That's good. So this is a pushback I was talking about, but we do have a bullish order block here. So even if it pushes down, it probably kind of reclaim. We should be all right. You can de-risk if you want to, meaning that when the price get close to BE, or maybe even a little bit above BE, if you want to de-risk, you can maybe take... I think the bias is pretty clear. It's most likely going to go hit that. It just probably won't hit it, straight up. No, Colonel, I am not interested to share that information. I'm not going to do a 24-hour stream. Yeah, I mean, Sherlock, if he wants to do it, my hat's off to him. Incredible. but I'm not gonna do that. Doing 1-2 hours is max for me. All right, we're currently in the green. So again, liquidity here, we'll probably get some rejection, but again, you know, we're currently just gonna slowly climb our way up there. If you want to de-risk, you can, you don't have to. And if it goes down, we're just gonna DC it again. And this is the type of situation where the reason why I mentioned if you want to de-risk, right? It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen sometimes. It'll probably kind of come down here to tap into this order block, trying to get something out of it. I can probably even move it. So this is the new order block now. So it can tap into this new order block, and for the liquidity, it needs to clear this pool. And I don't have the best entry, you know. So if you want to, you can also DCA a little bit more as it get to the liquidity pool if you want to. You don't have to. But this wick is showing you bullish. Sarah, are you in this trade? Most people who watch my stream or follows me, they normally don't trade right away because they needed at least a few streams to get comfortable and used to how I do things. So if you're new here, you know, don't feel like you're left out. It takes a few times for you to get familiar. So we'll probably end the stream as we hit this TP here. I'm relatively sure it's going to hit the TP. So this liquidity versus this liquidity, right, Yan? Tail versus tail. So we'll kind of see which one has bigger pressure. The moment we overcome this, the next reasonable point of reaction is going to be at the order block. So once we clear this area, we should be good. This is the area we're trying to basically proclaim or declare. And currently the price action is showing that the pressure is on our side, the bull side, and we're slowly clearing this area. But we don't have a gigantic amount of pressure, right? So eventually we probably have enough because this wick proves to you that we have pressure, right? So does this wick. So we should have enough. I don't know if we have enough to clear this order block. That's why my TP is here. That's how I kind of justify where I set my TP. So I think we'll hit this and probably rebound. So in this case, you can actually short here if you want to. Just not a big short, just probably a small, quick short. Does Sarah go AFK? Probably had to go. Anyway, we should be all right though. So if you're scared, you can always pull your stop loss literally to B right now. If it does come down, we can re-enter. If you're scared. So the current reaction, why is it not going up anymore, is exactly what I was talking about. We're currently absorbing all the liquidity pool here by this wick. So it's going to take some time to either break it or reject, right? Right now, I'm thinking it's more going to break than reject. But, you know, anything can happen. We also have a fib level right at the top of this fib, at this wick. So that could potentially be a resistance level. If we can have a surge of volume, that'd be nice. How is MACD doing? Okay, we're about to cross. That's also good. Any questions you want to use this time for me to answer again? Since we're waiting. Okay. I sent you the screenshot before, no? Oh, you're talking about like the actual place? It's always going to be the beginning of the impulse to the end of the correction, right? So for example, it's going to be here to here. This is not really well, I guess you can call it a retrace, right? So it's always the beginning to the top. Yeah, the whole range. So this is a sign that we need more liquidity for this pool. So it'll probably come down unless we stop like literally right at entry. So just for the sake of this, I'm going to de-risk 2 BTCs. So I just sold half of my positions. I am de-risking, which when it comes down to find liquidity, I'm just gonna add 2 more positions, literally like at this order block. If it does tap down and have the same TP. So if it goes up from here, it's great. But I did feel like I wanted to de-risk because we're spending a lot of time sitting here doing nothing. That tells me the pressure here is pretty significant, or the pressure above, like we're trying to go up, the bullish pressure is pretty weak. So it's either or. So I'm just de-risking. So it gives me an opportunity to DCA if it does come down. But if it just go up and straight shoot for my TP, I'm still happy to make the 190 bucks there. I'm okay with that. You see this quick wick down? That's the liquidity graph that we needed to push further, right? So here we go. That's good. So we might hit something here. So this was that final straw we needed, right? Yeah. At least for this liquidity part. Now we gotta clear this. Okay, we did clear it. So TP is inevitable, right? So now we're just gonna hit that TP. We're so close, you can actually close it here. So I'm just gonna manually close it just because we're so close to the actual TP. So I did manually close for 170 bucks. And if you want, I mean, we can potentially reverse from here because we're close to the order block. Technically, if we use the wick as the order block, we're now like some ways into it. If we shoot through the order block, which I don't see why we would, but if we do, you can still short as we get into this big block. Okay, so this order block is gone. That's cool. So pressure is quite good. I'm still anticipating a pretty decent reject from this order block or BOS. So I might short, depends on how, how piercing this or how strong this pressure is going to be. We have 2 minutes to really tap into this. If we do close above the previous high, then I might hold my horses. We have 2 minutes to find out. Remember, there's also pressure here by the wick, so we also gotta engulf that. Yeah, cool. I mean, it's cool, man. It's okay to chicken a little bit. We make money safely, right? We don't gamble. But if you make $500,000 every day, imagine that. You can do this literally 5 times a week. So that's $5,000 a day. I mean, a week. 52 weeks I'm sorry, 5 grams. Sorry. Yeah, 5 grams a week times 52, right? So 52